interest. Remember the tax arbitrage rule. And now, taxes. So, taxes na tayo. Now, for taxes, ano yung mga requisites niya? It must have been paid or incurred within the taxable year. In connection with the taxpayer's trade, business or profession. And not one of the exceptions to the rule. Okay? So basically, yung common denominator lang naman nila is dapat paid or incurred within the taxable year, di ba? Then it must be in connection with the trade, business, or profession. Otherwise, you cannot claim that as an expense for your business or for your profession if it is not connected therewith. Not one of the exceptions to the rule. So ano pala yung mga exceptions to the rule? Income tax. Second, income tax imposed by authority of any foreign country, unless availed of tax credit. Okay. Income tax imposed by foreign authority if tax credit is availed. Explain natin yan one by one later. Estate and donor's tax. And taxes assessed against local benefits of a kind. Taxes assessed against local benefits of a kind, tending to increase the value of the property assessed. For a while, tax code. Aside from that, in addition, meron tayong additional sa provision. yung mga input VAT, ano ito? We also have percentage tax on sale of traded stocks. I don't know where I got this now, but I have this on my notes. Think jurisprudence siguro. Okay? Now, balikan natin yung taxes. Ano yung mga conditions? It must have been paid or incurred within the taxable year. So, alam naman natin yung reason, no? Bakit ganun. So, hindi mo pwedeng i-claim yung taxes paid in 2019. Hindi mo yan pwedeng i-claim in 2020, di ba? That's basic. Second is, connected dapat siya sa trade, business, or profession. And third, hindi siya nakalista dito sa mga taxes that are not allowed as deductions. Number one, yung income tax, for obvious reason, hindi mo talaga siya pwedeng i-allow as deduction kasi it is the tax that is precisely should be the result of the computation kasi income tax yung hinahanap natin, di ba, sa computations. Bakit natin siya i-deduct? So yan yung obvious na reason dyan kasi ang kinukuha natin dito na result is yung income tax, di ba? From the income, and therefore hindi mo siya dapat i-deduct, no? Ito namang income tax imposed by authority of any foreign country, ito yung mga taxes imposed on resident citizens. Diba we said that the status of taxation of resident citizens is taxable siya sa lahat ng income niya within and outside the Philippines. So meaning to say, na-tax siya dito sa Pilipinas. But merong mga countries na tinatax din nila yung income ng Pinoy doon sa bansa kung saan na-earn yung income. Gaya, for example, ni Pacquiao, di ba? He has income from abroad. So, yung country naman kung saan siya nag-join ng competition or saan nangyari yung competition or saan na-earn yung income niya from the competition, tinatax din siya ng government doon, di ba? So, yan yung ibig sabihin dito na income tax imposed by authority of any foreign country. So, may mga ganyan kasi parang ano siya ba, parang double taxation ang nangyayari. So, in order to prevent double taxation, ina-allow natin as tax deduction itong income tax imposed by authority of any foreign country. Kaya lang, kapag kinlaim mo siya as tax credit, nag-avail ka ng tax credit, hindi mo siya pwedeng i-deduct. Okay? Let me be clear on this. Nakalista siya, di ba, sa exceptions to the rule na hindi daw siya pwedeng i-deduct. Hindi siya pwedeng i-deduct kung nag-claim yung taxpayer ng tax credit. Ano naman itong tax credit? I-explain ko yan later sa pamamagitan ng formula kasi hindi nyo maiintindihan hanggat sa hindi nyo makikita kung ano yung formula, kung saan doon yung tax credit at saan doon yung tax deduction. So, dalawa yung pwedeng way of deducting income tax imposed by authority of any foreign country. It's either you deduct it as an itemized deduction or you deduct it as a tax credit. Okay? Later, explain natin. But dito, kapag yung tax daw inimpose ng foreign country at meron ding tax na dito sa Pilipinas on the same income, hindi mo daw siya makiklaim as deduction kapag nag-avail ka daw ng tax credit. Yan lang ibig sabihin ng item number 2. Third, estate and donors tax. Simple yung reason dito kasi, di ba sabi natin, the tax should be paid in connection with the taxpayer's trade, business, or profession. Take note that In estate and donors tax, hindi ito binabayaran in connection with your business or profession. Kasi binabayaran ito kapag may namatay or kapag may nag-donate ng property. So, that's simple. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya allowed as deduction kasi hindi siya connected sa trade, business, or profession. Taxes assessed against local benefits of a kind tending to increase the value of the property assessed. Ano bang example nito? Wala akong example nito. May inaisip ka na example? Mag-isip muna tayo ng example. Input VAT, this is related to value-added taxation. So, let's just leave that, no? Kasi medyo complicated yan. Tsaka percentage tax on sale of traded stocks. I don't know where I got these two taxes, but let me just review no my notes. But nandyan yan sa notes ko. So, mag-take note na lang din kayo. Now, let's proceed to losses. Sorry. Before we proceed to losses, let's go to another principle here, no? In taxes. That you should remember. Yung tinatawag natin na tax benefit rule. Okay, what do we mean by tax benefit rule? It means that taxes allowed under this subsection when refunded or credited shall be included as part of gross income in the year of receipt to the extent of the income tax benefit of said deduction. So, for example daw, di ba nagbayad na tayo ng tax, no? For, let's say for 2020 kasi tapos na yung 2020. But what if for example in the year 2021, it turned out na meron tayong overpayment ng taxes. So, ang effect ng overpayment ng taxes, then yung taxpayer, meron siyang right to a refund no, of the overpayment of taxes. Okay? So, ang mangyayari, syempre, kapag merong overpayment, i-refund sa'yo, tama? Pero take note that in 2020, na-claim mo na siya as deduction. No? Okay? Let us say for example, nagbayad ka ng ano ba example ng mga taxes allowed dito? Business taxes, no? Business taxes like percentage tax and VAT, for example. Or yung mga taxes sa local government, di ba? So, for example, nagbayad ka ngayon ng tax or franchise tax. So, basta yung mga tax na hindi nakalista dito ha. Ngayon, meron kang overpayment. So, you want to ask for refund or request for refund. So, remember na yung tax na yan, na-deduct mo na yan entirely in 2020, in the previous year. Tapos, it turned out na i-refund siya. So, meaning to say, meron ding overpayment, over-deduction of taxes, di ba, in the previous year. Kasi, na-overclaim ka ng allowable deduction, right? So, ngayon daw, yung refund mo in the succeeding year, i-include daw natin yan sa gross income in the year of receipt. Meaning kung kailan mo natanggap yung refund, doon mo siya i-include na year sa gross income. However, to the extent lang of the income tax benefit of the said deduction. You know, I have illustrations nito ay. Ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng income tax benefit? Ang ibig sabihin yan, kung yung refund or sabihin natin kung yung deduction mo in the previous year resulted to a zero or a lesser tax liability, okay? Kung nag-result siya into a lesser tax liability in the previous year, then meaning to say you have an income tax benefit. 'Di ba? So kailangan i-recover din siya ng state or ng government kasi dahil sa overclaim mo, sa pag-overclaim mo din ng taxes in the previous year, wala ka ng or na-less yung tax liability mo or nag-result siya na wala kang nabayaran. So ngayon, kung mag-refund yan, kung ibalik yan ng government sa'yo kasi merong overpayment of taxes, then sabi ng rule, that should be included in the gross income because you have benefited to it in the previous year. Pero kung wala naman siyang income tax benefit on your part, even if it was claimed previously as a tax deduction, then you are not required to include it in the gross income. Okay? Natin ng illustration na. So, under the so-called tax benefit rule, a taxpayer need not include in his gross income and therefore need not pay tax on it on amounts recovered for his loss if he did not receive a tax benefit for the loss in a prior year. Equivalently stated, taxpayers must include in income any amounts recovered if they have received a tax benefit in a prior year for that loss. For example, if a taxpayer recovers an expense or loss that he previously wrote off against the prior year's income, then the recovered amount must be included in the current year's gross income. Ay, ito sa ano to bad debts ito. Bad debts. Teka muna. So actually, ang ibig sabihin lang yan, ganito. Kung for example, 'di ba, let's say for example, meron tayong i-deduct natin yung real property taxes like yan, no? Kasi merong lupa yung company, etc. So magbabayad siya ng real property taxes sa local government unit, 'di ba? Now, of course, hindi naman siya one of the taxes listed under the exceptions to the rule. So wala siya diyan, 'di ba? So paid or incurred siya within the taxable year in connection siya sa trade, business, or profession. Okay? Granting. So, ngayon, we need to say this is allowed as a deduction. So, lagyan natin ng amount. Pagpalagay natin, nagbayad siya ng 50,000 in the year 2020. Okay? Let us say, for example, there is an overpayment of the real property taxes. Let's say 30,000 lang dapat. Ito yung correct amount. Okay? So, meaning to say, merong difference na 20,000, right? So, merong overpayment by 20,000 pesos. Okay? Ngayon, ang gagawin ng taxpayer, mag-a-ask siya ng refund, no? Ask siya ng refund amounting to 20,000 pesos. So, ito yung tax benefit rule. Kapag daw nagpa-refund ka ng tax, overpaid tax, i-add mo yan sa gross income kung meron kang tax benefit na nakuha in the year that particular tax was deducted. Okay? Na-follow nyo? So, let's say in the year 2020, yung ating zero yung walang tax liability. No tax liability. Okay? Walang tax liability. So, wala kang nabayaran na tax in 2020. Okay? Kasi pag deduct natin ng lahat ng mga expenses, ang naging resulta is wala tayong tax liability, nag-fall tayo sa exception. Parang let's say 250 hanggang 250,000 lang. Okay? So ganun. Dahil sa mga deductions, di ba? So, meaning to say, kung ang reason bakit wala kang tax liability dahil dito sa real property taxes na na-overpay mo, then definitely yung 20,000, i-add natin yan sa gross income kasi nagkaroon ka ng income tax benefit in the year that particular tax was deducted. Okay? Pero, kung wala naman siyang significance, no? Hindi siya ang naging dahilan, hindi siyang naging basis ng no tax liability in the kahit na wala kang nabayaran the previous year. Let us say for example, even if hindi mo i-deduct itong real property tax, wala ka pa ring tax liability. Meaning to say, wala siyang silbi, kumbaga. Dinidak lang natin siya kasi pwede siyang i-deduct. Pero hindi siyang naging rason kung bakit wala tayong tax liability. It could be na marami talagang mga expenses pa na allowed, no? Kahit na hindi natin i-deduct yung real property tax, wala pa ring tax liability. So meaning to say, walang income tax benefit in the year that particular tax was deducted. And therefore, dahil walang income tax benefit, hindi required na i-add yung refund sa gross income. Okay? That is the tax benefit rule. Okay? Okay, with respect to non-resident alien individual engaged in trade or business in the Philippines, NRA, di ba? NRA ETB, and a resident foreign corporation, the deductions for taxes provided in paragraph 1 of the subsection C shall be allowed only if and to the extent that they are connected with income from sources within the Philippines. So, kapag yung tax is connected sa income nila from the Philippines, then that's the only time that they can claim taxes as an allowable deduction. Now, let's go to tax credit, no? Credit against tax for taxes of foreign countries. Okay. Di ba na-mention natin kanina yung tax deduction ng taxes imposed by authority of any foreign country and tax credit. Di ba sabi natin, there are two ways of claiming a foreign tax. Okay? It's either you claim it as a deduction as one of the itemized deductions or you claim it as a tax credit. No? Paano natin i-illustrate yan? Gamitin natin itong hinanda kong formula. Okay? O remember ha, ito yung natin last time, di ba? We start with gross sales or receipts less cost of sales and services equals gross income, di ba? Ayan, medyo complicated na yung formula kasi i-illustrate na natin lahat, no? Less itemized deductions. Okay? So, ito yung mga itemized deductions. Yan. Kung i-claim mo yung taxes as an allowable deduction, then dito siya nakalagay. Part siya ng itemized deduction. Pero kung i-claim mo siya as tax credit, hindi siya dyan. 'Di ba? Kapag i-deduct mo yan lahat ng itemized deduction, ito, allowable deduction, ang difference niyan is yung net taxable income. Ito yung net taxable income ang magiging tax base natin para makuha yung income tax. Remember? 'Di ba? Remember? So ito yung tax base, right? Now, let us say for example, nakuha na natin yung tax due. Alam niyo na kung paano i-compute yung tax due, right? Gamit tayo ng table or depende, 8%, depende, 'di ba? Okay? So dito ka magki-claim ng tax credit. Okay? So, dito ka magka-claim ng tax credit. Okay? So, tinatawag na income tax payable. Okay? Ayan. So, balikan natin, no? Klaruhin natin. Di ba na-mention natin kanina na yung mga taxes daw imposed by authority of any foreign country, dalawa yung way, di ba, of claiming it. It's either you claim it as a deduction under the itemized deductions or you claim it as a tax credit. Okay? Di ba? Ang ibig sabihin lang dito, kapag claim mo daw yung foreign tax as a tax credit, you can no longer claim it as a tax deduction under the itemized deduction. Okay? So, once mo lang siya i-claim, kumbaga, kasi meron ng double claim, no? Kung i-allow mo siya both ways. Okay? So, magkakaroon na ng unjust enrichment niyan kung double yung claim natin. So, pwedeng i-claim mo siya dito under this item, taxes, or kung hindi mo siya na-claim dyan, you claim it here as a tax credit. Okay? Pero, ang endpoint lang niyan is pwede mo siyang i-claim actually. Okay? I-claim as a deduction. No? Either from the gross income or from the tax due. Okay? Yan yung illustration natin ng tax credit. Actually, merong computation yung tax credit pero hindi na natin i-complicate, no? Kasi punta lang tayo sa basic, no? Basic na essence nitong tax credit. So remember that there are taxpayers na they are taxed, no, on their income within and without the Philippines, 'di ba? Like resident citizens and domestic corporations, 'di ba? So, dahil tinatax natin sila within and without, meaning to say, possible din na yung income nila outside tinatax din ng foreign government, right? Kaya meron tayong foreign tax. Pero, hindi ba nagre-result siya into double taxation? Kasi same yung income, same din yung tax. Iba-iba lang yung government. Para hindi ma-burden yung taxpayer, 'di ba, for paying twice, ina-allow natin yung tax deduction tax deduction for foreign taxes. Okay? Kaya kasali siya dito sa deductions. However, it's either you claim it as a tax deduction under itemized deduction or you claim it as a tax credit. Pero meron siyang limitation sa tax credit. Kasi kunyari, yung binayaran mo 50,000 pesos abroad, hindi talaga yung 50,000 pesos entirely makiklaim mo as tax credit. Kasi meron tayong prorata basis, no? Yung prorata basis niyan is yung income mo from abroad plus yung income mo from the Philippines, yan yung total gross income mo, right? Ngayon, yung income mo from abroad, i-proporate natin yan sa total gross income. O, parang ganun ba? Okay? I-prorate natin yan, tapos i-multiply natin kung magkano yung tax na nabayaran mo doon. Okay? Illustration lang yan, ha? Illustration lang yan para maintindihan nyo ba? Okay? Limitations on tax credit. Sige nga, isulat ko na lang para hindi kayo mawala. So, 'di ba, meron kayong income, gross income abroad. Ayan. Meron ka ding gross income Philippines, okay? So, total gross income, no? So, ganyan, 'di ba? Equals total gross income. Teka muna, hanap ako ng Wala kasi explanation sa libro. Baliktad yung aking ano. So, ganito pala yung pagkuha ng tax credit limitation. So, yung gross income mo, Philippines, divided by total GI. Sabi niya kasi, yung amount daw of the credit shall not exceed the same proportion of the tax against which such credit is taken, which the taxpayer's taxable income from sources within such country under this title bears to his entire. Ay, ano ba ito eh? Basta complicated ito class. So, meron tayong GI, foreign, abroad. Complicated kayo ni. Divided by total GI. Then, naapod tayo ginatawag na actual taxes paid in the Philippines. Yung proportion. O napod tayo actual tax paid abroad. Ana. So, ang ginabuhat ana, ang ginagawa dyan is i-compare lahat natin yan. Okay? Ito siya, percentage. Ito no, percentage. Ang result nito is percentage. Tapos, i-multiply natin yan sa actual taxes paid. Foreign tax paid. Ayan. Hindi ako masyadong sure ha. Basta yung essence lang kinukuha natin dito. Percentage times actual foreign ba ito? Which such credit is taken? Ay, okay. Actual taxes paid siguro ito. Paid. Paid or incurred to any country shall not exceed the same proportion of the tax. Ay, hindi ko alam guys. Hindi ako sure. Basta meron tayong actual taxes dyan. So, ganito ang mangyayari. Okay? Yung gross income ng Pilipinas, yung gross income mo sa Pilipinas, i-divide natin yan sa total gross income. Makakuha natin yung percentage. Then, i-multiply natin yan sa actual taxes paid. Hindi ako sure kung abroad ba or sa Philippines. And then, meron tayong GI abroad divided by total GI. So, percentage times actual taxes. Sige nga, kayo nga, meron kayong idea. So, ngayon, basta ang mangyayari dyan, pipili tayo kung ano yung lesser among them. Tatlo actually yung pagpipilian natin, okay? So, kung ano yung lesser, yung pinaka-less sa kanila, yun ang magiging allowed as tax credit. Yun lang ang essence nun, okay? Basta, yan, merong proration, no? Mag-proprata tayo ng taxes and then pipili tayo kung ano yung pinakamababa na tax, yan ang i-allow natin as tax credit. So, meaning to say, yung pinakapunot dulo lang ng lahat is hindi mo pwedeng i-claim yung entire amount of foreign taxes paid abroad. Kasi meron siyang limitation on tax credit. Okay? So, ganyan yung storya niyan. Okay? So, let's proceed to losses. Medyo nahirapan ako dun. I forgot na kasi the computation. Ay, meron pa, before we proceed to losses pala, kailangan meron kang proof of credits. Okay? Number 1, the total amount of income derived from sources without the Philippines. Okay? You should establish these facts to the commissioner. Yung total amount ng income mo derived from sources without the Philippines. Second, the amount of income derived from each country the tax paid or incurred to which is claimed as a credit under such paragraph. Okay? And all other information necessary, for the verification and computation of tax of such credits. Kasi, balik tayo dun sa rule na dapat, ayan, balik tayo dito ha, meron pala tayong kulang na requisites, no? Dapat substantiated, no? With sufficient evidence. Ayan. Additional requirement. Kasi, this is an itemized deduction. So, kailangan meron kang resibo or any proof, no, na nagbayad ka talaga ng foreign taxes. Okay? Now, let's proceed to losses. What are the requisites, no, to claim for losses? Losses actually sustained during the taxable year. Letter B, not compensated for by insurance or other forms of indemnity. Incurred in trade, business, or profession. And incurred in trade, business, or profession. And of property connected with meron naman tayong connected, no? Incurred in trade, business, or profession. Okay. Connected with the trade, business, or profession arising from fires, storms, shipwreck, or other casualties, or from robbery, spelling, theft, or embezzlement. Then, submit a declaration of loss within the prescribed time and manner, no? Not claimed as a deduction for estate tax purposes. Okay? So ito yung mga requisites natin para makaklaim ka ng losses, no? Losses. So number one, it actually sustained during the taxable year. Not compensated for by insurance. Dapat hindi siya covered, no, ng any insurance or any forms of indemnity. And dapat, no, yung basic requirement natin, incurred and connected, no, with trade, business, or profession. And dapat nag-arise siya from risk, acts of, force majeure, fortuitous events, no? Then, para maka-claim ka, you should submit a declaration of loss, no, within the prescribed time and manner, no? That is actually within 45 days from the date of occurrence or discovery. And dapat hindi mo na-claim yung losses as a deduction for estate tax purposes. Kasi nga, bawal yung mag-claim ka twice, no? Kasi that would amount to unjust enrichment. Okay? So remember the requisites. In case of non-resident alien individual or foreign corporation, the losses deductible shall be those actually sustained during the year incurred in business, trade, or exercise of a profession conducted within the Philippines. Okay, not compensated for by insurance or other forms of indemnity. So, same requirements, kaya lang dapat yung loss is connected siya sa income niya within the Philippines. So kung yung losses ng foreign individual or non-resident alien individual or foreign corporation is connected sa income niya outside the Philippines, then he or she or the corporation cannot claim the losses as a deduction. Okay? Now, ano bang example nito? Remember yung bagyong Pablo? 'Di ba na damage yung yung maraming na damage no because of bagyong Pablo, 'di ba? So, actually you can claim no yung mga losses no na sustain ng mga companies or even ng individual during that time, pwede niyang i-claim no as losses from the gross income. Basta lahat ng requisites na comply niya. Okay? Yun ang example. Kung from robbery, theft, or embezzlement naman, merong dapat ma-establish mo na meron talagang robbery, theft, tsaka embezzlement no, before you can claim for a deduction. Siguro yung yung sa losses from casualties, yung mga natural calamities, kailangan mong kumuha ng proof no sa local government na talagang affected no yung particular area kung saan nag-conduct ng business or kung taga saan yung individual taxpayer para masubstantiate mo yung losses, no? And you should submit no a declaration of loss para maka-claim ka no properly. Huwag kalimutan ito kailangan merong sufficient evidence. Bad debts. Sa maning bad debts. Ay, meron pa pala, no? Itong net operating loss carryover, ibig sabihin lang nito is, for example, yung company or yung individual, losses yung na-incur niya, hindi siya nagkaroon ng net income, net loss siya, okay, pwede mo siyang i-claim no, as a deduction. Allowed siya. NOLCO yung tawag natin dyan. Net operating loss carryover. NOLCO. So itong NOLCO, sabi ko kanina kapag, for example no, yung gross income mo, ito sa illustration natin. Tapos, ayan no, tapos, instead na net taxable income, net loss, for example, na net loss ni siya, negative ba? So wala kay income, so wala kay gibayaran. So pwede ni mo ni siya i-carry over as a deduction in the succeeding years, no? 3 years lang consecutive, no? Immediately following the year of such loss. So 3 years after ni mo nag-incur og net loss, net operating loss, pwede ni mo na siya i-deduct dito as a deduction. Okay? I-claim ni mo siya. Pero hantod tulo lang katuig, no? Let us say, for example, in year 2020, nagkaroon ka ng net loss. So, pwede ni mo siya i-claim in year 2021, 2022, and 2023. Provided, nag-net income ka in the succeeding years. Pero kung, for example, nag-net loss na pud ka in 2021, so, dili ka ka-claim sa net loss nimo sa 2020, right? Kasi net loss ka sa 2021. Ang mangyayari, mo accumulate lang na ang net loss, mo accumulate, mag-add up siya. Pero yung 2020 na net loss mo hanggang 2023 lang. Yung 2021 na net loss mo hanggang 2024, pwede mo yang i-claim as an allowable deduction. So, yan yung net operating loss carry over, meaning i-carry over natin siya sa succeeding years, no, for the next 3 consecutive taxable years. Okay? Capital losses. Salang na ninyo. Let's proceed to bad debts. So, ano naman itong bad debts? Meron palang masamang utang? May masamang utang ba? Or ito yung mga yung mga nangungutang na kapag need nila yung yung help mo, buutan kay sa imuha niya. Pag singlo na gani sila, sila pa'y masuko, no? Nga sila pa'y utangan. Mo ba na siya ang bad debts? Okay? So, that could result to a bad debts, no? If yung debtor, kuan na siya, hindi na siya mubayad, no? Kanang pabuang-buang na rin siya, no? Di na siya murag, wala kaila sa imuha, okay? So, when you say bad debts, ito yung mga receivables, no, ng company or ng individual na na-ascertain niya na hindi na niya makokolekta kasi ayaw nang magbayad or wala nang capacity to pay yung debtor, okay? So, since wala na siyang parang kung i-weigh mo ba yung utang, sa ba ni, makaya pa ba ni kolekta o dili na, pero kung mo mas bugat tong dili na jud siya makolekta, so pwede na siya i-declare as worthless, no? So, meaning to say, kung worthless siya, pwede mo na siyang i-deduct, no, as an allowable deduction kasi worthless na siya, hindi na siya makolekta. So, ano ba yung receivables, okay? Tayo ng Ano ba itong receivables? Kapag ikaw ay nagpahiram, on your part, ang tawag sa amount na pinahiram mo is receivables, okay? Kapag ikaw naman ay nangutang, ikaw yung debtor, on your part, ang tawag natin sa amount na inutang is payable, okay? On the other hand, payable, okay? So, pero parehas lang yan, no? Nagkaiba lang sa point of view, no? So, ngayon, yung receivables kasi under accounting, no? Accounting rules, it is part na of the gross sales or receipts, di ba? Kasali na yan sa gross sales or receipts, no? Kasi kapag accrual yung basis natin of accounting, di ba remember ano yung accrual? Nire-record natin yung income kahit hindi natin receive yung amount. Kahit hindi pa natin nakolekta. Yan yung accrual method. So, sa accrual method, yung receivables natin kahit hindi pa natin nakolek, ina-add na natin sa gross sales or receipts. Okay? Pero, nung inassess natin yung receivables na yan, na-ascertain natin na hindi na wala nang kakayahan at hindi na magbabayad yung debtor. So, dahil wala nang probability of collection, ang ginagawa ng mga companies, i-delete na lang natin itong payables ginagawa nila yung bad debts. Masamang utang yan. Okay? Kasi hindi na makolekt. So, paano ngayon? Sinalin na natin siya sa gross sales or receipts, di ba? So, kung hindi natin siya i-deduct from the gross income or from the gross sales or receipts, ibig sabihin masasali siya doon sa net taxable income. At kapag masasali siya sa net taxable income, meaning to say, mas malaki yung tax due natin. Tama? So, para fair on the part of the taxpayer, allowed siya under taxation rules as an allowable itemized deduction. So, pwede natin siyang i-deduct. Pero, gaya ng ibang deductions, merong requisites bago natin maklaim yung bad debts as an itemized deduction. That bad debts must have been actually ascertained, no? Actually ascertained. Based on accounting rules, no? To be worthless. Kasi meron tayong rules sa accounting yan. Hindi pwedeng nangolekta lang ka once, dili mo bayad, imo din siyang iba debts. No, that is not allowed. Hindi ganon kasimple. It must have been actually ascertained, no, based on accounting rules. Okay? And charge off within the taxable year. Connected with the profession. Balik-balik ni siya because this is, ito yung common denominator nila, trade or business. Not sustained in a transaction entered into between related parties under Section 36B. Okay. Dito naman tayo, substantiated with sufficient evidence. Ayan. So, actually ascertained, sabi natin na kailangan be in accordance siya, no, with the accounting rules, no? Connected with the profession, trade, or business. So, kung nagpautang ka lang sa kaibigan mo, hindi naman siya connected sa trade, business, or profession, so hindi siya allowed, no, as a deduction. So, ano lang ba yung mga allowed? Like, if you are a lawyer, tapos nagpautang ka sa yung client, so yung client mo, wala nang, di na nagbayad, okay? So, pwede mo yung i-charge, no, as bad debts, no? Deduct mo. Then, kung business naman, kung yung bumili sa'yo, hindi na nagbayad sa'yo, so pwede mong i-charge as bad debts, no? Ito, not sustained in transaction entered into between related parties. Example nito, yung kapatid mo, pinautang mo, okay? Basta puntahan nyo yung section 36B. Kung yung utang is between related parties provided for under section 36B, hindi pwedeng i-claim as bad debts yan, no? As an itemized deduction. And of course, substantiated with sufficient evidence. Okay? Now, na-mention natin kanina yung tax benefit rule, right? Meron din tayong tax benefit rule dito. Here in bad debts. Okay? Paano ba? Kailan ba nangyayari yung tax benefit rule? For example, di ba, yung bad debts, i-deduct natin, di ba? As an itemized deduction. Kasi worthless na siya. Hindi na siya makokolect. But what if, for example, yumaman si debtor, okay? Nanalo ng loto, okay? So, ngayon, dahil nanalo siya ng loto, parang nakonsensya siya. Siyempre, nambog siya, di ba? Kasi mayaman na siya, di ba? So, binalikan niya si creditor. Ayan. Sinabihan niya na, my friend, alam mo naman, di kita makakalimutan, di ba? So, babayaran na niya yung utang niya. Ano mo, nanalo ko ng loto, ganito, ganyan. So, babayaran kita. Galante ako ngayon, marami akong pera, ganyan, di ba? So, ngayon babayaran na niya si creditor, meaning to say, na-recover mo yung bad debts, right? Na-recover mo, tama? So, ngayon, papasok yung tax benefit rule. Ano nga ulit yung tax benefit rule? yung amount daw ng bad debts na na-recover mo, i-include natin yan sa gross income to the extent of the income tax benefit of said deduction. Kaya same lang yung rule niya doon sa taxes. Ganun lang din, no? Kung in the year of deduction, nagkaroon ka ng income tax benefit, definitely kung ma-recover mo yung bad debts na yan in the succeeding year, you are required to report the amount recovered as part of the gross income in the year of recovery. Pero kung wala namang income tax benefit in the previous year, then even if you have recovered the bad debts in the succeeding year, you are not required under tax rules to include the amount of recovery as part of the gross income. Kasi wala namang income tax benefit. So remember this rule, ha? Depreciation, okay? Ano naman itong depreciation? Alam nyo, may mga properties kasi na merong mga life yan sila, lifespan, okay? So, gaya ng laptop, gaya ng sasakyan, meron niyang ano ba? Basta life, no? May buhay yan. Okay? And meaning to say, based on accounting, ano ba tawag nila dyan? Accounting rules. Palayo ko kung sa aircon. Ano ba? Ano bang natin dyan, ha? Dili mo na siya accounting rules, good. Kalimot mo, good ko, eh. So, basta based sa accounting, no? Yung mga yung mga properties, personal properties, no? Meron yan silang lifespan. So, meaning to say, meron silang kanang number of years lang na magbibigay siya ng economic value, okay? Economic use or benefit. So, like for example, yung mga laptops, no, nilalagyan nila ng 5 years na life. Kasi there is a presumption na after 5 years, hindi na siya makakapagbigay sa'yo ng economic benefit or use, di ba? So, yan yung, kumbaga, estimated, no, allowance, no, for exhaustion, wear, and tear of property, okay? So, meron tayong reasonable expectation na yung property, personal property, mag-i-end talaga yung kanyang useful life, no? Useful life pala yun, okay? Yung gusto kong sabihin kanina. So, meron siyang useful life. So, after that useful life, meaning to say, hindi na siya useful. Okay? Obvious. Diba? So, wala na siyang economic benefit or use sa'yo. Pero, take note na, economic benefit or use lang ang nawala. Kasi pwede namang gumagana pa din yung property, okay? Pero, for purposes of accounting, wala na siyang value. Okay? Merong mga ganun. Kasi 'di ba, merong mga laptop na nag-last for 10 years, 'di ba? Kahit na 5 years lang yung useful life niya. Meron ding mga sasakyan na 5 years lang yung useful life pero hanggang 15 years kasi depende sa pag-alaga, 'di ba? Pero sa libro niyan, wala na 'yan. Zero na 'yan, 'di ba? Or kung meron siyang salvage value, ano yung salvage value? Pamatay na value or ano ba? Salvage value means yan yung value niya at the end of the useful life na pwede mo siyang i-dispose on the basis of that value. Okay? Yan yung salvage value. So yung dahil meron tayong reasonable expectation for depreciation, allowed siya as an itemized deduction. Okay? So merong mga methods ito, mga ginagamit, no, ng accountants, no? Based din sa mga accounting rules. Meron tayong tinatawag na straight line method, merong declining balance method, sum of the years digit method, and any other method which may be prescribed now by the Secretary of Finance. Pero yung pinaka-common dito is yung straight line method. Ano itong straight line method? Like for example, yung value of the property, i-divide lang natin yan siya sa useful life. So, ganun lang. So, meaning to say, like, kung 1 million yung property, divide mo yan ng, let's say, 5 years na useful life equals, magkano yan? 200,000, tama? Diba? Gamit calculator kay calculate mo tag 1 plus 1. Okay, 200,000 per year. So meaning to say, every year, you can deduct 200,000 no, as your depreciation. Okay? Meaning to say, pagka after 1 year, ana, ang value na lang sa imong property is at 800,000 na lang. Kasi depreciated na siya by 200,000, right? So yun ang essence ng depreciation. Okay? But then again, you should follow no, the requisites. No? Kailangan connected siya in the trade, business, or profession. Kasi kapag yung nag-depreciate is yung personal mo, hindi siya connected sa business or profession mo, so you are not allowed to deduct that. Dapat incurred within the taxable year. No? So, hindi pwedeng i-claim mo yung depreciation last year sa succeeding year. Hindi pwede yun. Okay? Ano pa? Dapat substantiated with sufficient evidence. So, you can use, yung accounting policies ng company, meron kasi yan sa financial statements nila. So, pwedeng yun ang maging basis para i-allow yung deduction, okay, ng depreciation. Basta basically, yan lang yung ibig sabihin ng depreciation, no? Be it petroleum, used in petroleum operation, kahit saan mo pagamitin, okay? Yan yung essence ng depreciation. Kahit sa mining operations pa yan, etc. Okay? Sa inyo lang yung mga, yung mga other provisions. But with respect to non-resident aliens engaged in trade or business or resident foreign corporation, again, with respect lang sa property nila located in the Philippines. Remember niya, always, di ba, meron talaga siyang provision for non-resident aliens, ETB, and resident foreign corporations. Now, depletion of oil and gas wells and mines. Actually, guys, ano ito kasi, these are considered as intangible assets, no? So, hindi depreciation ang tawag natin sa reasonable allowance for, parang yung sa property ba na depreciation ang tawag. Pero for oil and gas wells and mines, depletion ang tawag. Pero parehas lang sila, ha? Parehas lang sila ng role. Okay, parehas lang sila ng role. But I will not discuss that no in detail. Murara na siya og depreciation. Basta meron yan silang method no na ginagamit. Okay, ano pa? Now, let's go to charitable and other contributions. Yung iba, isa ito sa example ng tax avoidance, no? Itong charitable and other contributions. Yung iba, magdodonate sila ng money or property, no, para sa charity para mag-allow siya as deduction, no, from the gross income. So, meron tayong rules dito. General. At saka okay, the rule here is contributions or gifts actually paid. Ay, na lang ni Be. Requisite sa lang ta diretso. Actually paid. Idang lagi. Okay, actually paid or made within the taxable year. Ano nakagluto? Okay, for the use of the government. Government agencies and political subdivisions. Exclusively for public purposes. Kadali. Exclusively for public purpose or to accredited domestic corporations or associations organized and operated exclusively for religious, charitable, naroon na sa inyong libro, scientific, youth, etc., no? And sports development, no? Or two, social welfare institutions or to NGOs. No part of the net income of which, abutan na natin, non-inurement clause, taas kayo. Meaning, no part of its net income will inure to the benefit of any private stockholder or individual in an amount not in excess, okay? Not in excess, ito, importante, of 5% in case of corporation and 10% in case of individuals. Ano yan? 10% lang ano yan? Taxable income. Then 5% of the taxable income. 10% of the taxable income. Okay? Ano pa ba? Of course, another requirement, substantiated with sufficient evidence. Okay? Yan yung ano natin, basic requisites. So, pero meron tayong rules, no? Deductible in full and ano ba ito Teka muna ha, ano ko muna. Okay? So, ito siya, ito pala, tama pala siya, no? General rule, this is the general rule. Okay. Okay. Ang last pala na requirement is not deductible in full under sub paragraph 2. Okay? Yan yung last na So, yung general rule natin for charitable and other contributions, ito siya, requisites, no? Take note kung saan ka dapat nag-donate, no, para ma-allowed siya as deduction. Dapat for the government agencies, and political subdivisions, no, gaya ng mga LGUs. Exclusively for public purposes. Then, kung hindi naman sa government, allowed din na i-deduct yung mga donations to accredited domestic corp. Yan, basta ito ay organized and operated exclusively for religious, charitable, etc. No? Then, to social welfare institutions, to NGOs, basta no income shall inure to the benefit of any private stockholder or individual, no? And the amount of deduction, meron siyang limitation. Kung ikaw ay corporation, hanggang 5% lang ng taxable income. Kung ikaw naman ay individual, hanggang 10% lang ng taxable income. So meaning to say, kung ang taxable income mo ay 100,000, ay wag na lang, 500,000. So kung ikaw ay individual, hanggang 50,000 lang yung allowed as deduction as a yung allowable contribution, no, as a deduction. So, kunyari nag-donate ka ng money worth 100,000, so hindi mo pwedeng i-claim yung entire 100,000 kasi ang sabi ng rules hanggang 10% lang kung ikaw ay individual taxpayer. Kung ikaw naman ay isang korporasyon, nag-donate ka ng kahit na milyones ang dinonate mo, kung sumobra siya sa 5% ng taxable income ng corporation, hindi mo pwedeng i-claim yung entire millions, kung magkano man yung dinonate mo. And of course, kailangan merong sufficient evidence, no? Perma-perma, acknowledgement na nag-donate ka. So, picture-picture, no? Para i-document nga nag-donate ka, no? Para ma-prove nimo nga na-agyo donation. And hindi dapat siya nag-fall under subparagraph 2, no? Na pwedeng i-deduct in full. Meaning to say, hindi siya subject sa limitation ng 5% saka 10% kapag nasa subparagraph 2 siya. So, dito tayo, letter B. Yan, letter B. Contributions deductible in full. So, meaning to say, kung deductible in full siya, hindi siya subject to the 5 or 10% limitation. Meaning, you can claim the entire amount of donation, di ba? Hayahay. So, kailan mo maklaim yan? So, meron dyan letter A, B, and C. Wala namang D, no? A, B, and C lang. So, under what circumstances? Number 1, donations to government. Ma'am, meron mang donation to government sa taas. Bakit? Anong pinagkaiba, di ba? So, mapuning tax code, uy. Ibog man kayo. Yung siya diri, for the use of the government, for public purpose niya. Nanapot siya diri, donations to government. Ano ba talaga? Actually, ang kailangan mo lang tandaan dito para makaklaim ka ng full deduction, dapat yung donation mo is exclusively to finance, to provide for, or to be used in undertaking priority activities in education, health, youth, and sports development, human settlement, science and culture, and in economic development according to a national priority plan. Okay? Determined by NEDA. Okay. Chuchu Eklavu. Okay, ang taas ng provision. Kuha nyo, dapat priority projects or activities ng government na nakasaad sa National Priority Plan na determined by NEDA. So yung mga words na yan, yung mga term na yan, kailangan nandun yan sa problem, no? Para makaklaim ka ng full deduction. Kung walang mga ganitong words or clue, ibig sabihin, mafo-fall yung deduction o your contribution dito sa general rule. Okay? So, kailangan makita nyo yan, yung mga priority activities, and National Priority Plan, tsaka NEDA, para maklaim mo siya. Kung wala naman yan, edi general rule. Ano pa? Donations to certain foreign institutions. Or international organizations. So, because of agreements, no, treaties or commitments, no, entered into by the Philippine government, no. So, kaya we respect them, no. So, hindi natin sila tinatax, no, including donations. Ay, oo nga, hindi natin sinasali yung ano. Inaalaw natin as full deduction yung donation sa kanila. And donations to accredited NGOs. Take note, dapat accredited yung NGOs, ha? So, kailangan yung NGO na yan, ma-meet niya yung definition dito sa paragraph C. Okay? So, it means a non-profit domestic corporation. So, non-profit dapat siya. Second, dapat organized and operated exclusively for Chuchu Eklavu. Then, meron tayong no inurement clause again. Then, directly, no? Yung amount na dinonate dapat utilized directly for the active conduct of the activities constituting the purpose, no? Or function for which it is organized. Ginamit sa purpose, no? Ng pag-organize ng NGOs, no? Hindi dapat ginamit sa personal na interest or sa other purpose. Dapat, kung ano lang yung purpose ng NGO, dun ginamit yung contribution. Third, yung level ng administrative expense on an annual basis, hindi dapat mag-exceed ng 30% of the total expenses. Nandyan yan sa kudal nyo, ha? Basahin nyo na lang. Then, yung assets, in the event of dissolution, distribute siya sa another. Ay, ito yung sinabi ko, di ba? Yung mga NGOs kasi, kapag na-dissolve yan, hindi yan mapupunta sa mga private stock, sa mga members. Mapupunta, or sa mga organizers, mapupunta yan sa NGO na merong same purpose. Ito yan siya. Okay? So remember. And of course, kailangan, merong, again, substantiated, no, with sufficient evidence, no? Same requisites, kaya lang, ito, hindi kasali. Kasi full siya. Okay? Nakuha nyo? Same requisites, except that full ang deduction, hindi siya with limitation. Research and development, okay? So kasali daw siya as an ordinary and necessary expenses, no, for the conduct of trade, business, or profession. Kaya yung mga companies, meron silang research and development department. Merong mga manager dyan. Kasi gumawa sila ng department or ng division ng research and development kasi allowable siya as expense. So yun siya, no? And etong research and development, dalawa yung way natin, no, to claim this as a deduction. It's either, ito yung requisites niya. Paid or incurred during the taxable year. Of course, connected with the taxpayer's trade, business, or profession. Not chargeable to capital account. Explain natin later. Okay. Of course, meron naman tayong substantiated with sufficient evidence, no? So, ganito. So, alam na natin yung first two, no? Not chargeable to capital account. Let's say, for example, yung research and development is yung research nila is to have an infrastructure project. Okay? So, merong tangible result, no? Yung research and development. So ngayon, pwedeng yung cost of research and development, i-add up mo yan sa cost ng infrastructure project. So meaning to say, kasali siya doon sa cost ng project. So naging capital account siya. Kapag capital account, ginawa mong capital account yung research and development, hindi mo pwedeng i-claim yan as a deduction under the itemized deduction, under research and development. Ang mangyayari, para siyang depreciation, okay? Ang mangyayari dyan is, i-claim natin siya as a depreciation expense of the infrastructure project. Okay, nakuha nyo? I-amortize natin yan sa useful years ng project. No? So, kaya yung isa sa mga requisite dito para makaklaim ka ng research and development is hindi mo siya dapat in-add doon sa capital account. Dapat expense siya. Okay? Pension trusts. An employer establishing or maintaining a pension trust to provide for the payment of reasonable pensions to his employees shall be allowed as a deduction. Ito siya, kunyari, meron kayong plan, pension plan, no, for your employees. So, yung premiums na or yung amount na sinisave mo para sa pension ng empleyado mo, you can claim that, no, as an allowable deduction. Basta, again, paid or incurred during the taxable year, connected with a trade, business, or profession, substantiated with sufficient evidence. Then, ano pa yung requirements? Kailangan i-apportion mo siya, ano ba to? It is apportioned in equal parts over a period of 10 consecutive years, beginning with the year in which the transfer of payment is made. Okay, basahin nyo lang yan. So, yan yung pension trust, no? So, balik tayo sa formula, no? Ayan, i-summarize natin. Ito. So, di ba, always tayo nagsa-start sa gross sales or receipts, less cost of sales or services, di ba? Then, yung difference is the gross income, okay? So, di ba, paulit-ulit natin sinasabi yung part ng gross income, so dito yun ina-add, okay? So, less itemized deductions, yung mga itemized deduction natin, expenses, interest, taxes, losses, bad debts, depreciation, depletion, charitable and other contributions, pension trusts. Wala, hindi ko na research pala, research and development, no? Okay? So, i-total yan lahat, dito natin ilagay yung total nito lahat. Tapos, gross income less nito, dito. Then, ang difference is the net taxable income, which is magiging basis natin for computing the tax due. Okay? Ayan. Kung meron kang tax credit, din na yan. Income tax payable. So, now, another way, no, of claiming deduction, dalawa kasi to. It's either you claim the itemized deductions or kung ayaw mo namang mag-substantiate ng mga sufficient evidence or wala kang resibo, pwede kang mag-claim through optional standard deduction. Okay? Optional lang siya kasi depende sa taxpayer, no? If mahirapan siya na mag-substantiate ng mga resibo tsaka ng mga documents para ma-prove niya yung itemized deduction, pwedeng mag-optional na lang siya. So ano itong optional deduction? Simple lang. Okay? Kapag ikaw ay corporation, okay? Kapag ikaw ay corporation, you can claim 40% optional standard deduction, OSD, of its gross income, okay? So, yung basis natin for 40% is the gross income. But if you are an individual taxpayer, 40% of OSD of the gross sales, no? Gross sales or receipts, no? Subject other than. Okay. Gross sales or receipts. Okay? So, iba yung basis ng 40%. Kung ikaw ay corporation, so dito ka magbe-base. 40% of this one, gross income. Pag ikaw naman ay individual, yung 40% mo dito nakabase, gross sales or receipts. Now, let us illustrate that, no? Set natin dito, gamit yung formula. So, kapag ikaw ay corporation, so mayari, start ka with gross sales or receipts less cost of sales or receipts or services. Diba? Gross income. Diba? Tama? So, yung OSD mo dito, OSD, kunyari nag-opt ka ng OSD, less OSD, so 40% of GI kasi corporation. So, yan. Then, this will be your net taxable income. Mas madali siya sa itemized deduction. Okay? So, ito yung magiging basis mo for corporations. But for individual, copy lang natin. For individual, yung 40% natin nakabase sa gross sales or receipts. Meaning to say, dito sa itaas. Okay? Then, yung difference, yung net taxable income. Okay? So, mas madali siya, di ba, kung 40% yung gamitin natin. Optional standard deduction kesa sa itemized deduction. Kasi sa itemized, maraming requisites, no? Kailangan mo pa i-prove. Kailangan connected siya, yung ganun, di ba? So, para madali na lang sa'yo, pwedeng ito na lang yung piliin mo. Pero, may mga taxpayers na ang pinipili nila is yung itemized deductions pa rin. Bakit? Kasi mas malaki yung expenses nila, yung actual talaga nila na expenses kesa sa 40% OSD. Malulugi sila kung magpo-40% sila, di ba? So, kailangan mo lang i-weigh, no, kung saan ba mas meron kang benefit, no, sa 40% ba or sa itemized deduction. Okay? Kaya alam nyo, yung mga accountants, kami mahilig kaming mangolekta ng resibo. Okay? Naka-official receipt talaga yan or naka-sales invoice yan. No? Kasi alam namin yung role ng mga resibo tsaka sales invoices. They are very important, no, in the business. Itong premium for health and hospitalization, tsaka itong mga personal exemption dati, wala na po ito. Okay? Wala na ito, no? Yung mga sa dependents. Remove na ito sa train law. Okay, dyan lang muna tayo. Natapos natin yung yung mga importante sa allowable deductions. Next time, tapusin natin yung chapter, yung title 2. Ay, di ba ito? Yung chapter, no? Tapusin na natin yung chapter and then we go to the next chapter. Okay, malapit na tayong matapos, no? So, any question? Meron bang question? I-send ko pala yung ano, ngayon ko na i-send, baka makalimutan ko, yung mga notes natin. Wala na bang question? Ay,